It's time for you to start with rent to own. Everybody else owns a home, so why not you? Hey, I'm Rinde from AskRinde, and I've helped thousands of families from all across the country learn how to start buying real estate and buy their first home via rent to own. So today, I'm touring this 4-bedroom, 3-bath that's actually a starter home, an ideal scenario to be able to start via rent to own. Now, when you're starting the process of rent to own, there are 3 types of rent to own homes that you need to be looking at. Number 1 are starter homes. So starter homes are homes that are $1,500 a month and down. Also, starter homes also factors in the purchase price. So you want to be looking at homes that are $300,000 and down, the affordable price range. Now, you might be surprised, but these properties are available. I've shared here on my channel many times that there are over 40% of the properties in the US are owned free and clear by individuals, institutions, as well as tired landlords. So an example would be one of my clients. I was actually selling his property, and this particular person, I've sold all his homes, all his properties. He's an investor, and he has millions of dollars in real estate, and I've been able to move and sell all his properties. So he's currently exiting the New Jersey market and moving to another market where he can actually get more bang for his buck. So we actually put the last of his homes in New Jersey on the market, and he wanted a very high price point because he wants to cash out the equity and as much as he can with this market so that he can buy 6 properties where he's moving to. So his goal is to actually build his portfolio where he's going to be moving to. So we actually put the property in the market. And to be honest, because of the price point and the fact that he wanted the most money, or he asked me to list the property for so high, the property sat for maybe, I would say probably over 3 months. And I told him about lowering the price, reducing and doing a price reduction so that we can actually get him a proper sale. But he wanted to try to hold out. Now, what happened was towards the end, he actually became a desperate seller. So this is someone who already is set. He has multiple properties. He owns currently 5 properties, but he wants to buy 6 more. But what he did, which is actually what I'm sharing with you, is that this is an established seller. The property is not in a bad area. It's in a beautiful area. He actually told me that he was open to rent to own. He told me because he knows that I'm into rent to own and I'm a rent to own realtor. So he asked me to actually put the property out for rent to own. So these are how these scenarios work. You're not going to find rent to own on Zillow. You're not going to find it openly where someone's saying, come on, I'm going to actually give you my property for rent to own. You're going to have to be networked with rent to own realtors like myself, and also understand that landlords as well as sellers, they're not openly marketing their property for rent to own. However, they do exist. And there are actually markets, in all markets all across the country, where rent-to-own homes are actually being moved on a daily basis. Now, this is actually the ideal way for you to start with home ownership. There are many ways that you can start buying and investing in real estate. But one of the best ways that I discovered when I was 22 years old is rent-to-own. Rent-to-own gives you the ability to start home ownership, test drive the property like this house I'm going to show you today, and actually see what home ownership is all about. So learning how to actually inspect your home, learning how to maintain your home, learning the expenses that come along with the home is very important. You don't want to just buy a house and thinking, okay, well, my mortgage payment is going to be a certain amount, or my monthly payment is going to be a certain amount, when there are other ancillary payments that come along with that. So this is a great way for you to experience home ownership and set yourself up so you can start the process via a starter home, so that you can start to learn how to actually own a home and get in the process of getting yourself out of paying someone every single month, building their net worth, building their equity, and start to actually build your family's net worth and build equity for yourself. So a starter home is an excellent way for you to actually get rent to own. There are many properties that are starter home rent to own that are available in the top markets all across the country and in every market. It's just that you need to learn how to find it and source it. And that's why it's important for you to learn rent to own, the process of utilizing this strategy in order to be able to buy your first home, and also working with rent to own realtors like we are in our community. So there's no secret to this. If it was easy to find rent to own homes on the open market, you would actually see them and be readily available on Zillow and these other sites, but they're not. So starter homes are excellent because they not only give you the affordability to be able to start the process of buying a home, but they also allow you to be able to have the ease of the burden of getting into home ownership. So many times, as we know, when you're buying a property, you have to come up with the down payment, you have to come up with the closing costs, and in some cases you have to have reserves for insurance, etc., depending on your lender and who you're getting the mortgage from. This is actually a high bar for many people to hit, because not only do they have to come up with the money to be able to cover all these expenses that I just shared, but also the interest rate. So currently the interest rate is floating somewhere between 6.5% and 7% as of this video. And when you actually calculate what your monthly payment is going to be on an average home, is really, really expensive. So one of the things is rent to own gives you the ability to start homeownership even if you have bad credit, because it's not based on credit. It's based on having a strategy and having an acceptance or an accepted offer of the owner allowing you to rent to own the property. And there are many absentee owners. Like this particular property, as you can see, there's no one here. This property is vacant. This is an absentee owner. Someone owns this property, but they don't live here. They actually live out of state. We find these properties every single week, and some of these properties are off market, some of these properties are on market, but we know how to negotiate the process and actually get the property from what you're seeing now to having a family moving, to having someone get the keys for the property and move into the property. So it's all based on terms, how you negotiate it. And this is very important, because you'll find that especially now with the environment that we're in and the economy and everything that's forecasted, many people are struggling. They're struggling to actually see how they can actually buy a home. Sometimes, worst cases, they're able to go forward and buy a home, get a pre-approval, but they're getting denied one contract after another, especially if they're going for FHA mortgages or trying to use an FHA mortgage. And an FHA mortgage is supposed to be an additive. It's actually supposed to be a benefit, because it gives a first-time home buyer the ability to be able to buy a property with 3.5% down. However, many sellers, when they actually receive multiple offers on these properties and they're comparing conventional mortgage versus an FHA, they don't want to actually accept the FHA offer. And what happens is that the buyer finds himself on this vicious cycle of putting offer after offer on property, multiple properties, and getting denied and getting shot down by these sellers, because the sellers are looking for conventional. Why? Well, they want conventional mortgages because the conventional mortgages don't have the same restrictive criteria that FHA does. So this is what we actually put our clients through when we work with you, to be able to strategize and show you how to actually get into these homes, how to get into a home if you're looking to purchase, how to get into a home if you're looking to do rent to own. So I'm going to show you around this property, and you can let us know if this is what you're looking for in your market. Also, drop your location in the comment section below so we can actually cover your location to let you know what rent to own properties are available and how that market is actually looking. There are many top markets for rent to own all around the country, and those markets include Atlanta, Miami, they include Charlotte, North Carolina, they include Indianapolis, Indiana. They also include Houston, Texas, Birmingham, Alabama, and also Cleveland, Ohio, just to name a few. And if you want to get the top list of rent-to-own communities and rent-to-own locations where you have the easiest chance of getting a rent-to-own home, learning how to go through that process, make sure you tap into our rent-to-own community by clicking the link in the description below. So if you like something like this with a brand new modern kitchen, you like actually space where you can have multiple bedrooms. The good thing about this particular property, this property also has a mother-daughter feature, which means that it actually has a separate apartment in the basement, which I'm going to show you, so you can actually utilize that for additional income. So the great thing about buying a starter home is that a starter home can actually be an asset if you buy it correctly. You want to make sure that you're buying an asset and not a liability. Very, very important. Most times people don't know, especially when you're new and you're trying to get into home ownership, it can be very intimidating. So when you're going through the process, you want to work with someone who can actually help you manage your emotions. You also want to work with someone who can help you navigate the entire process and know what to look out for, and also save money everywhere you can. You need to save money on insurance. You need to save money on all the vendors that are going to be attached to the transaction. So having the knowledge and having the wherewithal to be able to work with someone like that is very key, and that's why we actually have a rent-to-own realtor network to help you in all markets all across the country. So with a home like this, you have the best of both worlds. You have the ability to be able to have a beautiful house, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, expansive living room, dining room, brand new kitchen as you're seeing with a kitchen island. You have brand new appliances. You have range hood, you actually have stove, you have a brand new microwave, brand new stainless steel appliances. And this is a great way for you to actually not only start to live life. You work very hard, you need to start living life, but also have the ability to start your trajectory of acquiring and building more real estate. So that's the first type of rent to own home that you need to actually be focusing on if you're starting rent to own. The second type of rent to own home that you need to be focused on are fixer upper homes. So fixer upper homes are excellent because they give you the ability to rent to own them and also build equity along the way. They're a great way to enter into property, enter into real estate utilizing rent to own with a very entry level price point, which means you're paying far less than what the market is. And you're actually using and having the ability to be able to build equity and also build up your net worth via that home and utilizing rent to own. So I've shared many of these properties on our Instagram and also here on our YouTube channel in our shorts section. And you can see there are fixer upper homes that you can get for a very inexpensive price and actually utilize that to be able to start the process of home ownership, utilizing rent to own. You can actually get into these properties via rent to own and actually start to fix them up as you're in them. Some of these properties, even though they're fixer-uppers, they're not complete gut jobs. Some of them are cosmetic. So I've gone into properties and we have properties from all across the country that these are properties that just require like some paint work, they're cosmetic, but you can actually go into them via rent to own, which means you don't need to pull up a bank, which means you don't need to get a mortgage for them. You don't need to actually go through the process of getting approved for pre-approval. You can start the process via rent to own by negotiating directly with the landlord, negotiating directly with the owner, and have the ability to actually start the process of home ownership via rent to own. These are great ways for you to actually start to build your equity. And as you are in the property and you're starting to work on the property with light cosmetic work, and it's actually not only livable, but it's going to actually put you in a place where you're actually building value. I've always talked about this with real estate. You want to pay attention to how your house looks. Many times people think, well, I own a house, I don't need to keep the curb appeal, I don't need to keep the property nice. No, you need to, because your curb appeal adds about 15% to your property's value. And when you're in a house, there are certain key things that you're going to do for capital improvements that's going to shoot up the value. Imagine going to work every single day, and regardless of you doing anything, you're actually gaining and making more money because the equity appreciation in your property, if it's in the right location, continues to go up. So just imagine you actually now have a silent partner in growing your net worth. You have a silent partner that's just sitting there and just continue to grow every week to week. Your family's net worth is going up because the property is in a great location and is appreciating in value. Now, some things that you need to be aware of, and especially when it comes to fixer-uppers, the two main things you want to focus on immediately when you get into a fixer-upper is you want to focus on the kitchen, and you also want to focus on the bathroom. These add an astronomical amount of value to your property's appreciation and also the growth in the value, because kitchen and baths really account for over 35% of the rise in your home's value. When people come into the home, they'll look at the living room, they'll look at the kitchen, they'll look at the bathroom, and that's really a lot of times what sells them. As we know, most families spend most of their time in the kitchen. So you want to make sure that the kitchen is actually, not only renovated properly, but you have good finishes, you have an excellent backsplash, and it's really inviting and it's warm. No matter if you're going to be choosing a white color or you're going to be choosing whatever color, but you want to make sure that it's something that's properly renovated and it's impressive. Because when an appraiser comes into your property and they start to actually give the value and they're going to appraise the property, the kitchen is on point and the kitchen is renovated and the bathroom is renovated, that's really going to put you where you're going to start to see a rise in value and what that appraiser comes back with a valuation for that particular property. So fixer-uppers are a great way because you have a very low entry point. Many times those are cheaper to be able to acquire. We like fixer-uppers that have land attached to them. I did a video recently where I actually spoke about and I showed you guys a fixer-upper that's on 4 acres. It's only $199,000. Imagine that. It's commercial zone, beautiful opportunity to be able to not only build but also create multiple streams of income from that one property. So these are possible. We're in the field every single day. We're sourcing these properties in various markets, and this is something that you need to tap into and learn more about. So as I shared, Zillow will never show you these types of homes. And fixer-uppers can skyrocket in value while you're in them renting to own them. So make sure that you're open and embrace fixer-uppers. The third type of rent-to-own home that you need to be looking for are duplexes. So duplexes can actually move you from tenant to landlord quickly. And this is one of the favorite types of real estate that I encourage you to buy hands down. As a matter of fact, most of our clients are first-time clients. When we introduce and we do our onboarding call, you can actually book a free consultation by clicking the link below. But we actually discuss with you the opportunity to be able to have a duplex as your first property, because you want to make sure that you set yourself up to play monopoly with real estate. If you're buying a single family, the entire burden is going to be on you. But when you're buying a duplex, you have the ability to have rental income. Now, the great thing is that with duplexes, they're flexible. There are many options with duplexes that you can utilize if you know how to monetize the property. So I actually encourage you to actually look into duplexes, because duplexes can actually have you rent to own them. Rent to own duplexes are one of our top and best properties that we actually work with in our network, and we encourage our clients and we find for our clients simply because they give you the ability to be able to have a tenant help you to pay the mortgage. So imagine, in some cases, some people are living for almost free because they're paying whatever the negotiated rent is in the rent to own, but they also have income coming in from a tenant to be able to actually offset it. So depending on how much they're renting it for, they're able to actually make a profit in some cases, or even break even, or best case scenario, live almost free. This is what we're talking about. The other great thing about duplexes is the fact that where things are going, I've said this many years ago when I shared with you guys about rent to own, where things are going is that there's going to be a lot of families consolidating. So you're going to see a lot of families coming together as the cost of living goes higher, as whatever tariffs, whatever wars, whatever things that are happening, whether it's interest rates or just the cost of the burden of living, you're going to see more families moving together and coming together and consolidating so that they can actually have life more affordably. A duplex gives you the ability to be able to have that with no issues. So that's one of the reasons why we like duplexes so much, because duplexes are great for you to start with rent to own, because it gives you the ability to be able to live in one unit, rent out the other, have the ability to be able to not only start to experience home ownership, but also have the ability to start your trajectory towards being a landlord, or have the ability to get income off of real estate. The great thing about duplexes is that it's easier for you to qualify. When you do go to buy the rent to own, it's easier for you to qualify for the duplex. And in addition to that, they set you up so you can actually buy more properties afterwards. So as I shared, these are the three best types of rent-to-own homes. If you're thinking about starting 1, 2, 3, you need to actually start with starter homes, then start with fixer-upper rent-to-own homes, and then start with duplex rent-to-own homes. So we're actually going to be sharing more properties with you. I encourage you to tap into our rent-to-own community to learn more about how to start in the process. Maybe where you are, you're worried or you're intimidated. You don't need to be. I started this when I was 22 years old. I bought my first property when I was 22, and I've utilized real estate to scale into a multi-million-dollar portfolio. So if you want to see what rent-to-own homes are possibly in your area, make sure you tap in with us by clicking the link below so you can actually see a snapshot of what may be going on in your area regarding what rent-to-own homes are available. As I shared, you're not going to see this on Zillow. You're not going to see this on Truly or all these other platforms, because these are properties that come through a network, having a network of rent-to-own realtors, having sellers that actually are open to this. Like I shared earlier about my seller that are open to rent-to-own, and they're willing to do it. And the rent-to-own gives you the ability to not only start the process, but you can exercise your option to purchase it 2 to 3 years down the line. So great opportunity. Make sure you click the link below. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email us anytime. My email address is AskRinde@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Make sure you actually check out our properties, and make sure you check out this next video so you can learn more about the process, and also tap in with us with grants, with rent-to-own, and how we can help you in the community. So we look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.